So folks, in this video I am going to illustrate the ISIS implementation on Cisco ISR, not ISR, sorry, Cisco CSR. So my topology is going to look like this. I have a Vyos 1-5 rolling release connected to a Cisco CSR, which is router 1. Then this one is connected to router 2, CSR, and router 3, CSR. And the way we're going to do this ISIS implementation is this is going to be your L1 only. This one is obviously going to be your L1, L2, because L1 needs to connect to an L2. This is going to be L1, L2. And then this one is going to be L1 only. So the intention is that we get defaults here and here while learning their loopbacks in the L1, L2 routers, which is your core. And you can put an L2 here, but we'll just simplify this. So this is your core, and this is your STUB router. My Vyos loopback, I believe, is my router 1 loopback is, router 2 loopback is, and router 3 loopback is. And this segment is, I believe this is 12.1.2. This one is 23.3.2. This one is 120.1.2. All right. And the reason for this is obviously the implementation of ISIS is different per vendor. Cisco does it differently in terms of functionality. Open source like Vyos does it differently, Juniper does it differently, and unlike OSPF, which is pretty standard across the board. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So here's my workstation, VMware workstation, and I am in the Vyos router right here. Let's check the interfaces. So I've got the Ethernet configured and the loopback configured. One 20.0.0.1 and loopback 111.1.1.1. Let's go ahead and enable ISIS on it. The network number, like I did a video on ISIS 49, is the standard starting number, and then you got 4 octates of area/system ID. So the way I try to make it easy is just do 4 numbers in each octate And then the last one is going to be your system ID, which in Vyos case I'm just doing a 9. And this is always 0. And then I am going to set interface E0 network point to point, already configured. I am going to configure level 1, because this is a stub. I am also going to put the interface loopback 0 in ISIS. I'm going to commit this and then switch to router 1. This one is done. We're going to CSR router 1. Show IP interface brief. Got the Ethernet 1, gigabit Ethernet 1 configured properly, 120. Gigabit Ethernet 2 configured properly on 12, and the loopback is on 1. So let's verify that I can reach the Vyos. Yes, I can. Verify that I can reach the other router 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up router ISIS network 49. And the system ID is going to be 1 for this guy and 00. Interface gig 1 is going to be IP router ISIS network point to point. Interface gig 2 IP router ISIS network point to point. I think that should be it here. Let's go check our Vyos to see if it got the adjacency. Show ISIS neighbor, and it did. Show IP route. Let's see if it's advertised. We put the loopback interface loopback 0. IP router ISIS. Show IP route. And it's not revealing the route, and there's a reason for that, because that's how Cisco has implemented. You cannot redistribute routes, L2 routes into L1. You have to explicitly do it. There's no implicit routing leaking. All right, so we'll take care of that, but do show ISIS neighbors. We got Vyos up and running. Do show IP route. We should see ISIS route, which is 111, and we do not. I thought I did put it in. Here it is. So I should be able to see this here, which I don't. So router ISIS. And then I am going to say ISIS type level 1, 2. Do show IP route. Show ISIS neighbors. It is level 1. I should learn the loopback of Vyos. do show run interface gig 1. It's a /24. It's a point-to-point. Do ping 120.0.0.0.1. Let's go check Vyos one more time. Show IP. Show ISIS neighbors. Config. Show protocols. ISIS. And I've got Ethernet 0. And I have loopback. Interface loopback as well. Level is level 1. Everything looks good, but I do not see do show run show interface. I do not see this route coming in, which I should. Do show IP route. So the problem was that, like I said, the implementation is so wide, different. And now I do see the routes from Vyos 111. Their problem was this. Do show run part router ISIS, partition router ISIS. This was a problem. By default, Cisco iOS XE does not enable metric style wide, and Vyos by default does it. So now, once you put this in and router 1 CSR, you do see the Vyos route. Do show IP route, your 111 is here, do ping. It's up, let's go check Vyos 1, do show IP route. And I do see the loopbacks, which are coming in as level 1. So if I need to make it a completely stub and make these guys disappear, I'll have to configure a circuit type. So let's do that. Let's make this guy disappear. And just, the intention is to get default only. So I go to interface, loopback 0, cert ISIS, circuit type level 2 only. Now let's see what happens. And it's gone. See this one? Loopback from R1 has disappeared because it was coming in as an L1 route. That's one thing to keep in mind from an ISIS perspective, that the routes and links are either L1 and L2. And when you describe the circuit type, L1 routers will only get L1 links. So it gets the connected 12 as an ISIS route because that's where it's enabled. And no other routes will come in from the connected L1, L2. All right, so now we go to do show run interface gig 2. It's enabled here. Let's go to router 2. Enable show IP route. I don't think I have anything here. Show IP interface brief. It's all configured. Let's go and do ISIS. Router ISIS. Network is going to be 49. This one is going to be router 2. Interface gig 1 and metric style, obviously. I always forget that. metric style wide. Interface gig 1, router ISIS network type is going to be partition router ISIS. Did I do it right? Yep. Interface gig 1, IP router ISIS network. Point to point, interface gig 2, IP router ISIS network, point to point. Do show IP route, and I should see 111 coming in, I should see 111 coming in, I should see all the routes popping up. Okay, let's go and check Vyos 1. I should not see R2. Do show run interface loopback 0. Interface loopback 0 IP router ISIS. So this one should not pop up. Okay, it is popping up. So we do and go tell him that this is going to be ISIS circuit type L2 only. So this will disappear on Vyos, and it did. 23 is coming. We don't need transit interfaces, so let's go say that between R1 and R2 we just make this L2 only. So interface gig 2, interface gig 2, ISIS circuit type L2 only. Do the same thing here. It's going to be gig 1, ISIS circuit type L2 only. This would make 23 disappear. And we can do the same. 23 disappeared. 12 disappeared because I configured it to be a IS circuit level 2. So now the transit links are gone. I don't need all those transit links here in ISIS stub router. I'll generate a default. Okay, so now I've got a good ISIS local routes here. So that is my router 2. Show IP route on router 2. I get 1. I get 111, and it won't ping because the Vyos is not getting the source route. So if I ping the Vyos router, it won't ping because there's no way route back. When the packet comes in here, and he's got no way to go back to 1200 because the routing table does not have 12 in its routing table. Vyos doesn't have route because we converted that into circuit level 2 route. So it's only going to work when we generate the defaults. So that's, we'll demonstrate how to do that. Now let's go to R3 and do the same. So ping 22 should be right. So config T router ISIS network is going to be 49 222.3333 and 444, and this is 3, so I'm going to make this 300 ISIS metrics. Okay, metric style wide. interface gig 1 is circuit type IP router ISIS, interface loopback 0, IP router ISIS, IS circuit type level 2, interface gig V, IS circuit type level 1, because it's a stub, router ISIS, IS level is level 1. Default is level 1 too. So now I should do show ISIS neighbors. Did not see do show run interface gig 1. It's here. Okay, so my level 1 circuit should match up with the gig 2 here on router 2. Ping 23003, show ISIS neighbors, R1 only, show run interface gig 2. I have, okay, so I need to go change this to interface gig 2, ISIS circuit type, level 1. Show ISIS neighbors. I do not see 3 coming up. Show run part router ISIS. Got the 2. I got show run interface gig 1, 2. Both have circuit level 1 and 2 only. So what's wrong with this guy? Do show run part router ISIS. Do show run interface gig 1. Do ping 23002. Circuit type level 1. Why is it not coming up? Do show run interface loopback 0. Do show run part router ISIS. Tell me what's wrong. Do show IP route. Do show ISIS neighbors. Do show run part router ISIS. Network is looking good. Level, highest level type 1. I did have router 2 to be 1, 2. Did I not? Show run part router ISIS. There you go, that's the problem. Well, it is by default like that. Router ISIS level. Just have level 1, 2. Do show run interface gig 2. Why is it not coming up? Do show run interface gig 1. Aha. IP ISIS network. Okay, show ISIS neighbors. Now it up. Show IP route. Sounds good. Now I need to get a default here, and I need to see 333 and 111 on my core routers. So let's just first make sure that I am seeing all these routes on my core routers. Do show IP route. I do see 111. I do see 333. Actually, I don't. So what's going on with 333? Do show IP route. 333 is not coming in. Why is that? Show run interface loopback 0. Oh, why did I do that? Interface loopback 0. ISIS circuit type level 2 only. No. It is actually ISIS circuit type level 1 only. So now I should see 111. Do show IP route. There it is. 111, I have 222, 333, and I have 111. So I'll get all the core routers to see the stub routes, but my routing is not complete because my Vyos is not able to see the quad 0. And my router 3 on CSR is not able to see the quad 0. All right, so let's get that going. ISIS. The way to do that is you go on these L1, L2 routers, and then you do this. Default information originate route map. And then you say route map is going to be whatever, default in L1. Default in L1, DL1. And then you go configure this route map. Default L1. Set level, set level 1. Now this should permit, bingo, there you go. That's how you generate a default. You need to do the same here. On it's connected L1, L2. So I'm going to say, make sure I'm in router ISIS, default information, originate, route map, default in L1, DL1. Route map. By the way, the documentation sucks, so there was no easy way to figure this out. Route map default in L1, set level L1. You're basically permitting explicitly to let L1s get a default route. Now your routing is complete from stub to core to stub. L1, L2, again, if you have a router in the middle, that will be L2 only. And this is L1 with Vyos 1.5 and CSR 17X, L1 only. And now you should be able to reach from your router 3 to this Vyos router. Pinging, there you go, trace route. The VMware player is very slow on trace routes, so let's see. But you get the idea of how to configure a stub L1/L1, L2, all the way to 2 sides L1 stub routers, and then 2 core routers with L1, L2. Again, if you want an L2 only in the middle, you can do that. but here's your trace route from here all the way to your Vyos, eliminating all the transit routes into Vyos again. Let's check the configs, do show protocol ISIS. That's how your ISIS looks on Vyos. Run show IP route. This is how your routing table should look like with the card 0 without any transit links in the routes. And then your L1, L2. Do show run part router ISIS. This is how your ISIS L1, L2 should look like. Do show run interface gig 1, gig 2. And now you go to L2 other, do show run part router ISIS, interface gig 1, gig 2, and then show run part route map. That's how your route map looks like, and then the CSR on the other side, show run part router SIS, show run interface gig 1. So that's your ISIS implementation. And again, the documentation is pretty much not there, which forced me to put a video on here for myself. But hope this is going to help for whoever is playing with ISIS. Thank you for watching. See if I can stop this video now.